Om Shri Sai Namaha. Chapter 46. Baba's Gaya Trip and Story of Goats. This chapter describes Shama's trip to Kashi, Prayag and Gaya, and how Baba in the form of his portrait was there ahead of him. It also describes Baba's reminiscences of the past birth of two goats. Preliminary. Blessed, O Sai, are your feet, blessed is your remembrance, and blessed is your darshan, which frees us from the bond of karma. Though your form is invisible to us now, still, if the devotees believe in you, they get living experiences from you. By an invisible and subtle thread, you draw your devotees from far and near to your feet and embrace them like a kind and loving mother. The devotees do not know where you are, but you so skillfully pull the wires that they ultimately realize that you are behind them to help and support them. The intelligent, wise, and learned folk fall into the pit of the sansar on account of their egoism. But you save, by your power, the poor, simple, and devout persons. Inwardly and invisibly, you play all the game, but show that you are not concerned with it. While you do things but pose yourself as a non-doer, nobody ever knows your life. The best course, therefore, for us is to surrender our body, speech, and mind of your feet, and always chant your name to destroy our sins. You fulfill the wishes of the devotees, and to those who are without any desire, you give bliss supreme. The chanting of your sweet name is the easiest sadhana for devotees. By this sadhana, our sins, rajas and tamas qualities will vanish, and sattva qualities and righteousness will gain predominance. And along with this, discrimination, dispassion, and knowledge will follow. Then we shall abide in ourself and our Guru, who are one and the same. This is what is called complete surrender to the Guru. The only sure sign of this is that our mind gets calm and peaceful. The greatness of this surrender, devotion, and knowledge is unique. For peace, non-attachment, fame, and salvation, etc., come in its wake. If Baba accepts a devotee, he follows him and stands by him, day and night, at his home or abroad. Let the devotee go anywhere he likes. Baba is there ahead of him in some form in an inconceivable manner. The following story illustrates this. Let's hear story of Gaya trip. Sometimes after Kaka Sahib Dikshit was introduced to Sai Baba, he decided to perform the thread, means Upanayana ceremony of his eldest son Babu at Nagpur. At about the same time, Nana Sahib Chandorkar decided to perform the marriage ceremony of his eldest son at Gwalior. Both Dikshit and Chandorkar came to Shirdi and lovingly invited Baba for these functions. Baba asked them to take Shama as his representative. When he was pressed to come in person, Baba told them to take Shama with them, and that after doing Banaras and Prayag, he would be ahead of Shama. Now mark these words, for they show Baba's all-pervasiveness. Taking the permission of Baba, Shama decided to go to Nagpur and Gwalior for these functions and ceremonies, and thence to Kashi, Prayag and Gaya. Appa Kote made up his mind to accompany him. They both went first to Nagpur for the thread ceremony. Kaka Sahib Dikshit gave Shama rupees 200 for his expenses. Then they went to Gwalior for the marriage ceremony. There Nana Sahib Chandorkar gave Shama rupees 100, and his Vyahi, means relation, Mr. Jathar, gave him also rupees 100. Then Shama went to Kashi and then to Ayodhya, where he was well received in Jathar's beautiful temple of Lakshmi Narayan at Kashi. and in the Rama Mandir at Ayodhya by Jathar's manager. They, means Shama and Kote, stayed for 21 days in Ayodhya and 2 months in Kashi Banaras. Then they left for Gaya. In the train, they felt little uneasy on hearing that plague was prevailing in Gaya. At night, they alighted at Gaya station and stayed in the Dharamshala. In the morning, the Gayawala, the priest who provides for the lodging and boarding of the pilgrims, came there and said, "The pilgrims have already started. You better make haste." Shama casually asked him whether there was plague in Gaya. "No," said the Gayawala. "Please come without any fear or anxiety and see yourself." Then they went with him and stayed in his house, which was a big and commodious vada. Shama was pleased with the accommodation provided to him. But what pleased him most was the beautiful big portrait of Baba fixed in the central and front portion of the building. Seeing this portrait, Shama was overwhelmed with emotion. He remembered Baba's words. That was, after doing Kashi and Prayag, he would be ahead of Shama, and burst into tears. His hair stood on end, his throat was choked, and he began to sob. The Gayawala thought that he was afraid of plague prevailing there, and therefore was crying. But Shama inquired of him whence he got Baba's portrait there. He replied that he had 200 or 300 agents working at Manmad and Puntambe for looking after the convenience of the pilgrims to Gaya, and from them he heard about Baba's fame. Then about 12 years ago, he went to Shirdi and took Baba's darshan. There, he wanted Baba's portrait hung in Shama's house, and with Baba's permission, Shama gave it to him. This was the same portrait. Shama then remembered his former incident. The Gayawala's joy knew no bounds when he learned that the same Shama who obliged him before was his guest now. Then they both exchanged love and service and were most delighted and happy. The Gayawala gave him a right royal welcome. He was a very rich man. He sat in a palki and made Shama ride an elephant and attended to all his comforts and conveniences. The moral of the story of this, that Baba's words came out true to the letter and unbounded was his love towards the devotees. But leave this aside, he also loved all creatures equally, for he felt that he was one with them. The following story will illustrate this. 2 goats. Baba was once returning from Lendi when he saw a flock of goats. 2 of them attracted his attention. He went to them, caressed and fondled them and bought them for rupees 32. The devotees were surprised at this conduct of Baba. They thought that Baba was duped in this bargain, as the goats would fetch rupees 2 each, at the most rupees 3 or 4 each, that is rupees 8 for both. They began to take Baba to task for this, but Baba kept calm and cool. Shama and Tatya Kote asked Baba for an explanation. He said he should not store money and he had no home and any family to look after. He asked them to purchase at his cost 4 share of dal, means lentil, and feed the goats. After this was done, Baba returned the goats to the owner of the flock and gave out of the following reminiscences and story of the goats. O Shama and Tatya, you think that I have been deceived in this bargain? No. Listen to their story. In their former birth, they were human beings and had the good fortune to be my companions and sit by my side. They were uterine brothers, loving each other at first, but later on they became enemies. The elder brother was an ideal fellow, while The younger one was an active chap and earned a lot of money. The former became greedy and jealous and wanted to kill his brother and take away his money. They forgot their fraternal relations and began to quarrel with each other. The elder brother resorted to many devices to kill his younger brother, but all of his attempts failed. Thus, they became deadly enemies, and finally, on one occasion, the elder gave a deadly blow with a big stick on the latter's head, while the latter struck the former with an axe, with the result that both fell dead on the spot. As the result of their actions, they were both born as goats. As they passed by me, I at once recognized them. I remembered their past history. Taking pity on them, I wanted to feed them and give them rest and comfort, and for this reason, I spent all the money for which you reprove me. As you did not like my bargain, I sent them back to their shepherd. Such was Sai's love for the goats. Bow to Shri Sai. Peace be to all. Sai Natharpanamastu. Shubham Bhavatu.